It's really easy to kind of overlook your own health and well-being when you have a new baby in your life and everything seems to be focused around caring for this baby 24/7. What we often forget is that actually our bodies also need quite a lot of care around the clock. You need to try and help your body recover from the birth. You need to try and make sure you've got enough energy and nutrients for breastfeeding if that's what you're doing, and you also need to make sure that you've got enough energy and nutrients to get through each day when you've got such a new and demanding role going on. So taking care of yourself through good nutrition is one of those really important things that you can do to try and make life a little bit easier when it's all turned upside down with a new baby in the household. And actually, it doesn't have to be too complicated. It doesn't have to mean that you eat completely differently to the rest of the family. I'm going to take you through some of the key things that are important to consider in terms of nutrition as a new mum. And I want you to try and remember that actually this isn't particularly different to what your partners might be eating, or if you've got older children in the household as well. It's very much about just focusing on a healthy, balanced diet. And what I'm going to talk to you about during this short video is something called the Eat Well Guide, which is available as a download through the website. So you can download this, print it off, have it to hand, just to remind you of the key things to think about in terms of the different food groups. It's a really good visual to help you think about planning your meals and the types of foods that you should be including to make sure you and your body are getting everything that you need. So the Eat Well Guide, you'll see that it has got 4 separate food groups. So we have got the carbohydrate foods, we have got fruits and vegetables, we've got the milk and dairy foods, and we've got the beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meats and other proteins food groups. So those are the 4 key areas to think about when you are planning your meals or your snacks, just to make sure that you're getting a balance of those different things. If we start with the carbohydrate food group, this is things like breads, rice, pasta, potatoes, sweet potatoes, things like crumpets, crackers, breadsticks, pita breads, tortilla wraps. All of those types of kind of starchy carbohydrate foods are really, really crucial for lots of energy. They're a really important fuel for your body, and you will need plenty of fuel as a new mother. So it's important not to neglect this food group. Trying to make sure that you base each meal around this food group. So something for breakfast, something for lunch, something for your evening meal should always contain something from this food group. And they also make really good, handy, quick snacks as well. So your breadsticks, your pita breads, toast is quite a good one, crumpets, all of those kind of things make quite good snacks, which will give you some fuel from these starchy carbohydrate foods. So really important for fuel, energy for your body, but also a lot of these foods are a really good source of fibre, and fibre is really important for getting your digestive system sorted, particularly if something like postnatal constipation is an issue for you. Going for more of the whole grain varieties, more of the kind of brown breads, whole wheat pasta, brown rice, oats are whole grain, popcorn is a really good snack which is also whole grain. Those are the foods that have a little bit more fibre and will help with your digestive system. So try to make sure that you are including plenty of those throughout the day. Moving on to fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables, the same old message, 5 a day applies for new mums as well as to the rest of the family and any children you have over the age of 12 months as well. 5 a day is important, and getting a variety is important as well. Fruits and vegetables make really good snacks, so you can include them in your snacks as well as trying to make sure that you get something at each of those meal times. And that will provide lots of different vitamins and minerals. So if we go for a variety of colours, you've probably heard about the term eat a rainbow. The reason that that message is important is because all the different coloured fruits and vegetables have different properties in terms of the vitamins and minerals that they will offer your body. So for example, things like your green leafy vegetables might have a little bit more of the B vitamins, a little bit more iron perhaps. Whereas things like your orange type vegetables and fruits like carrots, butternut squash, sweet potato, oranges. They tend to be a little bit higher in things like vitamin A. Most fruits and vegetables will all contain some vitamin C. So if you're going for a variety of colours, you will also give your body a variety of vitamins and minerals. And these foods will also provide you with some good fibre as well. So particularly when you're eating the flesh of the fruits and vegetables, that contains more soluble fibre, and when you have more of the kind of starchy carbohydrate foods that we were talking about earlier on, they have a bit more of the insoluble fibre, and a combination of the two is important when you are postnatal to help get your digestive system back to a bit more of a regular routine. So aiming for 5 a day with your fruits and vegetables, and also remembering that tinned fruits and vegetables can be a really good way of making sure that you're still getting your 5 a day. Sometimes when we haven't got on top of the shopping because we're so busy with a newborn, making sure that you've got some tins of fruit or vegetables, or frozen or dried as well. Those kind of things are a good way of making sure that you can still get your 5 a day even if you haven't got fresh fruit and veg in the house. And particularly with something like dried fruits, so apricots, dried apricots, raisins, figs, dates, they taste much sweeter. So if you're finding you're getting quite a lot of sweet cravings, they can be a really nice way of kind of hitting that sweet tooth that you might be getting as you lack a little bit of energy and you're feeling tired, to give you a little bit of boost. And they will still contain lots of vitamins and minerals and fibre as well. If we move on to the dairy foods, so that's things like cheese, yogurt, milk, rice pudding, custard. Those foods, ideally thinking about around 3 times a day. So if you have milk on your breakfast cereal in the morning, that would be 1 portion. If you have some slices of cheese with lunch, that would be another portion. And then having an adult size yogurt for a pudding either after lunch or after your evening meal, that would be your 3 portions more or less sorted. And those foods are a really important source of calcium. So really good for your bones, for teeth, and it's something that actually during pregnancy your body will make sure that the baby gets everything that they need in terms of all their vitamins and minerals, and so the nutrients sort of go to the baby first, and it may be that actually postnatally you're a little bit deficient in some of these vitamins and minerals, and so it's a good time to kind of be topping up and making sure that you are getting back the calcium that perhaps went to baby during pregnancy if you weren't eating enough of it at that point. If you don't have dairy in your diet, then something like a milk alternative, so soya milks or oat milks or almond milks, all of those things would also be included in this food group. The key thing with those alternatives is to make sure that you're going for an unsweetened, fortified milk alternative. If it's fortified, it will have the calcium in there as well. So that's the key thing to look out for with those foods, and around 3 times a day. The other food group is the beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meats and other protein food group. And as you might have guessed, this food group is a really important source of protein. It will also provide you with some iron, particularly important if you have had low iron levels or anemia during pregnancy, and possibly if you've had quite a lot of blood loss during your labour. It's important to try and get those iron levels back up. Animal sources, so things like your meats, particularly red meat, beef and lamb, they contain more iron and it's more bioavailable. So what that means is that it's easier for your body to be able to absorb that iron as well from the foods that you eat. If you don't eat meats or animal kind of products, then you can still get enough iron from things like the beans and the pulses, and also things like green leafy vegetables as well. And it might just be a case of including those foods a little bit more frequently in your diet. So the advice really for this food group is to be having these foods twice a day, so at lunchtime and at the evening meal, to make sure you're getting enough protein and enough iron. If you are inclined to go for more of the vegetarian foods from this food group, the beans, the pulses, the nuts, the seeds, the lentils, try and include those foods 3 times a day, just to ensure that your body has enough chance to get iron and to absorb it. There is something you can do to help your body absorb iron as well. So iron and vitamin C go really well together. So as long as you are including some kind of fruits or vegetables alongside these foods, the vitamin C in those fruits and vegetables will help your body to absorb that iron. The other thing that's important to talk about with this food group is the omega-3 fatty acids. So from things like your oily fish, salmon, sardines, herrings, mackerel, pilchard, trout, those are all considered oily fish, and they are a good source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are really helpful for our brain development, our cognitive function, and also joints and heart health in adults as well. So it's nice to include fish in your diet, and the advice is to try and include fish twice a week, at least one of which should be oily. The key thing to mention for new mums, particularly if you think at some point in the future you may go on to have another baby, which may feel like way off right now, but oily fish, because they tend to be larger fish higher up the food chain, they do have higher levels of pollutants and mercury. So similar to probably what you heard during pregnancy, although the oily fish is really helpful, the key thing is to be having it no more than twice a week so that these levels of mercury and pollutants don't increase. You may have also heard during pregnancy that you should avoid eating the large fish like shark, swordfish and marlin. Those fish are fine to be eating now, although no more than once a week, again because of the high level of mercury and the high level of pollutants that are in those fish because they're higher up the food chain. Other things that we get from this food group, the meats and the fish, seafood, those foods give us zinc as well, which is important for a good nervous system, and also the seafood particularly is a good source of iodine, which is important for proper thyroid function and things like that. So this food is quite a key one and often one that tends to be neglected. So try and always think about having something from the food group at lunchtime and at your evening meal, but also to include it in snacks. So something like nut butter on toast or hummus dip or bean pâtés, those kind of things make quite good snacks that you can use to top up on the protein and particularly the iron as well in between meals. So that's the 4 main food groups, and we've mentioned drinks as well. There are some useful downloads that you can get through the website to just give you a better, more practical guide of what that might look like in practice. So I have put together a menu planner for you, which will help to maybe give you a little bit of mealtime inspiration and also snack inspiration. And there's also lots of recipes as well on the website that you can download to help inspire you and to make sure that you are covering those food groups that we have discussed. I will also be sharing my top tips for meal times and snack times as a new mum on a separate video, so please do go onto that one if you want a few more kind of practical top tips of how to